Good afternoon and welcome to the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game show. Rapids come away with a 4-1 win against the Campbellton Tigers. And before we go any further, I would just like to issue an apology to the boys. I know in the pregame show, I said the special teams really weren't going to be a factor. The exact opposite happened this evening. 2 power play goals and a shorthanded goal, courtesy of Brody Paré. Fantastic all-around win. Was incredible. I don't think it could have gone any other way. Wow. What way do we start this? I mean, from the get-go, they looked solid. There was no scoring for the first 10 minutes of the first period, and Braden Campbell finally breaks this scoreless tie. Jonah Laird and Nick Brennan getting the assist. Getting the assist on Braden Campbell's goal. And it was just fantastic. It was a scrum in front of the net. It was something that he just popped it right in the back of the net like it was nothing. And he made it look so easy. That's his second goal in 2 games. Definitely a Heat Index candidate for the next coming edition of the Heat Index coming up on Friday, on the 14th of February, which is Valentine's Day. We'll talk about that in a second. Medical Arts sauces the puck next to Anton Topolnitsky, and this is a significant one. Why? As you may recall, Anton Topolnitsky, he came to the Rapids after during the trade deadline, signed with the Rapids. He was playing in his first couple of games here. He finally, at long last, gets his first goal in the MHL, and I was so overjoyed to see him. He was smiling. The bench was happy for him. Everybody was tackling him. It was awesome to see his first Maritime Hockey League goal for Anton Topolnitsky, and it was one of those ones that, number one, he's never going to forget it, and number two, it was the goal that put the Rapids up 2-0. In a game against Campbellton where you saw the Tigers getting frustrated very early on, that they were not, that things weren't going their way. They're on the second half of a back-to-back. They're tired. And there was nothing that they really could have done differently except dial back the physicality a little bit. So those 2 goals were on the power play. Those 2 goals, Braden Campbell and Anton Topolnitsky, they were both on the power play. And then a short while later, Brody Paré with the most beautiful, unassisted, short-handed goal, straight from the other side, breakaway, pops it top left corner, and it was fantastic. A beautiful goal, and one that he will not soon forget. I know that for a fact. This game just went magnificent. I don't think they could have done anything better than they already had. Wow. There's so many things that went right for the Rapids. They started on time. They got that first goal. Well, they got the first 3 goals before Campbellton answered back. And Adam LaCour, I have to give a shout out to Adam LaCour as well. Played a solid game on the back end, leading them to victory, only allowing 1 goal, and it was the one goal from Campbellton that they ended up scoring. It was in the second period, and that was courtesy of Carter Morrison. It was a goal that, it couldn't really have been avoided. It happened. Couldn't really do much about it to stop it. It was 3-1 at that point, and I don't think the boys were worried at all that they were going to spark a comeback. At that point, Grand Falls had all the momentum, and they were not letting anybody not letting anybody break that down from Campbellton's side of things. Now, from there, things would get a little bit chippy. We saw quite a few penalties coming up. As a matter of fact, in the second period, just had to pull up the penalty sheet here. Tyler Pazin and Rafael Michaud, they each got 2 minutes for roughing. There was a 10-minute misconduct in there as well. And Jonah Laird took a hooking call. And then Simon Duguay with the cross-checking call, and that ended up leading to a Rapids power play, which they scored one of the goals on as well. And wow, how do you break this game down in a sense? I think that this is one of their best played games in the second half of the season, if not their best. Aside from the win that they got a couple of games ago here, this was the second last time that Campbellton came to town and faces off against the Grand Falls Rapids. Obviously, the Tigers are in town one more time before the end of the season, and that game I would expect is going to be a lot more physical. I mean, these two teams see each other one more time in Grand Falls and then one more time in Campbellton, the second last game of the season, and there's no dialing back that's physicality. I mean, you saw guys going at each other. Tetro and Paré were going back and forth. You saw Laird and Van Soler going back and forth. This was a game that you will not soon forget in terms of how physical it was. But also, it was a game that you won't forget in terms of how they dominated. They took advantage of everything they needed to. They exploited Campbellton's weaknesses on the power play. Ended up playing them super solid 5-on-5. They were doing fantastic defensively. They were doing everything right on the back check, making sure that they had every opportunity to stop pucks from entering the zone. And if they didn't, they sure as hell shut them down every other chance that they got. So it was fantastic, well played, and super solid. Super solid all-around game from the Grand Falls Rapids. Now the Campbellton Tigers are in town one more time. I mentioned that February 17th. It's a Family Day game. One that I am going to effectively call the Family Day Throwdown because it's a rivalry game that is happening on Family Day. Come watch the game. It's always a fun time when you have any sort of Rapids game here, especially against a division rival. The crowd was loud tonight. Everybody was cheering the boys on, and it was just, the atmosphere was electric, as it should be for these Rapids games. So just an all-around well-played game for them. And also, this kind of helps with the double-edged sword that we were talking. I'm going to keep bringing this up until the end of the season because right at this moment, the Rapids hold the double-edged sword in both of their hands. And right now, you've sunk the Tigers until the next time, so you've temporarily submerged them underwater, and you've prevented them from catching up to Miramichi, but at the same time, you've also helped West Kent and Miramichi try to get ahead of them a little bit in that sense as well. In addition to that, you've also you've earned an extra 2 points, getting a little bit further ahead in the standings so that the Valley Wildcats, that first round pick that they were traded from Grand Falls is not, I believe it's still in the top 4 right now, but it's not going to be a 1 or a 2. So you also got that as a win as well. Now, with that being said, there were a lot of positives from this game. Obviously, I mentioned that special teams, and I'm going to kick myself in the behind for that one, guys. Special teams did wonders for this Rapids team. 2 power play goals, a shorthanded goal, and man, like I said, you know, sometimes when you predict these things, you're right, sometimes you're wrong. This case, I am not even ashamed to say that I was wrong in that case, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm happy that I was wrong. I'm really happy that I was wrong in this case, and they played just an amazing game all around. Super exciting, and it sets the tone for Friday night when the Fredericton Red Wings, for the very last time this season, roll into town. And the last time that these two teams faced off a couple days ago, you may remember, Wednesday night, it was a 3-0 shutout. Loic Nadeau's first MHL shutout. And Fredericton's going to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. Grand Falls is going to be riding the high, but not before Tuesday. Now, for those who have not been keeping track of things, Tuesday night is the MHL All-Star Evening, which is going to be happening in Edmundston, and a couple of the Rapids players, as well as training staff, and Coach Leland is also attending, and I am just going to pull this up here just to give you a little bit of an idea, or just to give you who is going to be participating in the All-Star Challenge on Tuesday night. So for the senior stars, you got Isaac Allard and Nathan Plemedon-Michaud, who are going to be playing in the seniors game. So that's the players that are 19 to 20 years old. For the young stars that are 16 to 18, you've got Raphael Michaud, Jonah Laird, and Braden Campbell, who are all going to be there as well. And then you got your coaching and medical staff, Yasmin Badabanga, who is the Rapids trainer, and our Rapids head coach, Greg Leland, who is going to be there as well on All-Star evening. It's going to be fun. I'm very excited to see these guys in an All-Star game, and it's something that we have not seen in the Maritime Hockey League before. It's the very first time that they're doing an All-Star game, and it's something that I'm sure you're not going to want to miss, because this is going to be a best on best, right? This is going to be two games that are best on best, players from each division made up of players from all around the league, two teams from each division. It's going to be the North Division versus the South Division. Metal Fab Fire Trucks is sponsoring the All-Star evening. It's going to be fantastic. So if you're able to get your tickets, or if you haven't already got your tickets, I would encourage you to do so, to go and get your tickets for the All-Star game. It's going to be super fun. Really looking forward to how this is all going to play out. And if you also haven't got your tickets for Friday night's game when Fredericton comes to town to play against Grand Falls, I would encourage you to do that as well. There are 8 games left in the regular season. Not much time is remaining for the Rapids to finish out the season, but when they do, you'd best know that they are going to go out with the biggest fight that you have ever seen. And if tonight's any indication, this game was fantastically played. I cannot stress this enough. From start to finish, they played awesome. You cheered them on. You know what they're capable of. This team has something great on the horizon. Thank you very much for watching the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game show. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit the little bell notification for all future content, including our off-season series, which is going to be coming very shortly as well, and so much more that's going to be happening towards the end of the season and into the off-season as well. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to share it with all of your friends, and we will see you here at the ENP Seneschal Center for the Bellefleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids pregame show on Friday night, when the Fredericton Red Wings face off against the Grand Falls Rapids in what is sure to be an exciting, crazy division rival matchup. We'll see you then.